When it comes to Kill.Switch, the game is best known for being the inspiration for several large third-person shooters that were made during the Xbox 360 and PS3 generations. Kill.Switch may not seem that special when revisiting it long after its launch, but when it was released, it was going to help change the game for how other companies would tackle third-person shooters. Kill.Switch is a brisk third-person shooter that is pretty straight and to the point, and most of your time will be spent taking cover and shooting bad guys.
Stations.
When it comes to the shooting, the third-person combat is decent. You can take cover behind most objects, and the game very much wants you to use its cover system. You will not survive long outside of cover. I also like the positioning of the cover button on the controllers. You hold one of the shoulder buttons to take cover and then release it to come off of cover. This way you do not really need to deal with any sort of sticky cover system. You can roll to get to a better position or avoid a grenade. When shooting your guns, you can fine-tune your aim with a first-person mode that is very easy to switch to. There is a melee option for anyone who rushes your position, but you will not be using it that much. Much of the game involves you being in different environments where you take cover, line up your shots, or blind fire if needed, move to the next area to take out your next set of enemies. For the most part, you will be in close combat situations with many enemies surrounding you. Some of the more interesting situations have enemies a floor above you as well. When being rushed by an enemy, the blind fire is very useful, but it's highly inaccurate. Just like most of the game, the levels are very straightforward and to the point on what you need to do. Go into an area, take cover, and carefully take out your targets. Focus on soldiers trying to throw grenades and then move to your next area where you'll have another firefight. It is simple and at times lacks that extra sort of something to really make you connect to the game, but the action is consistent and enjoyable. You get a small arsenal of weapons to choose from. You have several machine gun options, a shotgun, sniper rifle, and a few more. Grenades can help you out as well with flashbangs. The game likes to provide you with lots of throwables, so you can use these to your advantages to either disorient your enemies or take out a group of them. Each time you throw a grenade near them, they will try to dive out of the way. You can use this as an opportunity to shoot the enemies running away from the grenade. So grenades have two solid uses to them. You can use them to kill a group of enemies, or you can use them to bait them out of cover to make them easier to kill. The enemy AI is very dumb, but lethal. It does not take many shots to take you down, but they aren't the smartest bunch of enemies to fight, with some even jumping into thrown grenades. Most of the levels will have you going from area to area, shooting anyone you come across. There are some mission objectives thrown in, like a timer or finding a set of items that you need to blow up. The guns are pretty fun to shoot as well. Most of the weapons have decent sound effects and some nice impact on your enemies. While the game lacks any blood and gore, the enemies will react to your hits. Sometimes you will see an injured man try to get to safety. While the entire point of the game is to use the cover system, I did enjoy the shotgun a lot, and I would go on short shotgun rampages as I rushed enemy positions. There is a story that tries to connect all the missions together, but the story is very thin, along with the storytelling not being that good. What does help the presentation is that Adam Baldwin plays one of the characters in the game, and he helps to bring some of the cutscenes to life. There is a bit of a mystery to the game, but there's a lack of any character development to really get you invested in the story. Some of the cutscenes do elevate the material, and there's one action sequence that pops up that is pretty awesome. When it comes to Kill.Switch, it really doesn't do anything unique outside of its use of its cover mechanic for shooting. There's a lack of something else to really make this game memorable, like an enjoyable story, world, or characters that would help elevate the entire game. The shooting is still fun and enjoyable, but Kill.Switch feels like the bare bones of an even better game. I love short and sweet games, but this game very much needed additional content to help flesh out the entire package. I am all for an experience that wants to be focused without any of the fluff, but this mostly enjoyable game needed more game to the game. Maybe during development there was a lack of time to really make more levels, but I think the developers could have gotten a bit more creative on the levels that they already had within their game, but just using them in a different way. A simple example of this would be to include a horde mode and a few different sections from the campaign to be used as levels for that. Something simple like this would have been fun to enjoy for quick action sessions or longer play sessions. If it was possible with this game engine, I would have recommended that they include a 2-player offline option as well, really extending the game's length. I think it would have helped the replay value of the game if you were provided with some extra modes to play that netted you with some new guns or even earning in-game cheats. For example, after beating the game, you could open up the campaign mode but as a time trial or as a mirror campaign mode or something else. The shooting is still solid within Kill.Switch. I just want more excuses to keep playing it. Besides being very short, the game does have some annoying checkpoints where you might need to replay up to 10 minutes or more if you die. This can be a bit frustrating, but it really just requires you to play very conservatively during these parts. While being a short game, it's still an enjoyable one. Kill.Switch is a brisk cover-based shooter that provided a fun experience that influenced many games to come. Kill.Switch helped to influence other developers as they were creating these memorable games like the Uncharted series and the Gears of War games. Kill.Switch should be respected for its efforts to help popularize this cover shooter genre. Every time that I have played Kill.Switch, I have very much enjoyed my time with it. I just wish that it provided just a bit more content. The story is interesting, but it's so thin and underdeveloped that it doesn't really give you a chance to really get invested in anything or become compelling. If more time was put into actually having characters with some development, that could have helped to elevate the solid shooting. Along with this, if this game provided more content to the lean package, it would have given players more reasons to keep playing the game. Having said all of that, the shooting and cover mechanics are still solid. I enjoyed shooting each of the guns, even though the enemies were really dumb. If you haven't played Kill.Switch and you can find it for cheap, it is worth checking out so that you can play the game that inspired many other great third-person shooters, because without Kill.Switch, those games may have ended up a bit differently. While I still have my issues with it, the brisk experience is still a fun one, and thank you very much for watching.